Sir, the anniversary for 9/11 is coming up.
Take me as far from New York as you can.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. So, Joe Biden is traveling to Alaska in order to honor the memory of 9/11. That's right. This is a unbelievable headline, not from the Babylon Bee, but from the Daily Mail itself. Joe Biden will be the first president in 22 years to not mark the 9/11 anniversary at the scene or sites of one of the attack. Joe Biden will visit a military base in Alaska to mourn the close to 3,000 Americans killed. Biden will stop in Alaska as he flies home from Vietnam. So he's not even going to be in America on September 11th? Previously visited sites at Ground Zero, the Pentagon, Pennsylvania. Vice President Kamala Harris will attend a ceremony in Manhattan. Got it. You mean the same Kamala Harris that compared September 11th to January 6th? So the attack that killed nearly 3,000 Americans, that was run effectively by a foreign government's intelligence operation, like the Saudi government. We'll get to that in just a second. That's the same as January 6th? Got it. Okay, got it. She also compared it to Pearl Harbor, in case you're wondering if these people are absolutely psychotic. The answer is yeah, and they're just reading the talking points. The judge, Trump's January 6th case, also compared September 11th to January 6th. Oh, yeah. Judge Shutkin says, here according to the great Julie Kelly, friend of the show, this trial will start 3 years, 1 month, and 27 days after the events of January 6th, 2021. Trial involving the Boston Marathon bombing has less than 2 years after the events. Trial involving Zachary Messiah for the role of the September 11th attack was set to begin 1 year after the attacks, but due to continuances and appeals and voluminous discovery, it began roughly 4 years later. And there it is, you have it. The Obama-appointed Tanya Chutkan just compared January 6th to the Boston Marathon bombing and 9/11, insulting the victims and literally illiterate. She isn't just crooked, she's painfully stupid. Well, Joe Biden is now doing a painfully stupid thing by not traveling to any of the September 11th locations. I mean, of course, Ground Zero is where you would expect to see a president, or in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. But Joe Biden has other things to occupy his time with, and of course, his entire administration continues to insult the memory of those who died on September 11th. The reason why Joe Biden may be wanting to skip out on this issue is that this has actually become an interesting little issue on the campaign trail. So we've been discussing this actually because Vivek Ramaswamy, running for president, has been bringing it up. It's worth noting, here according to NPR, Biden declassified a secret FBI report detailing Saudi nationals' connections to 9/11. Uh-oh. According to this report, the partially redacted report, a dramatic turn of events has directly linked Saudi intelligence to the 9/11 hijackers who were allowed into this country as an intelligence operation that was being run effectively by the CIA, but the CIA couldn't run intelligence operations inside of America based on their charter, and so they had the Saudis do it. See how that worked? Oh my. Commission was largely unable to tie the Saudi men to the hijackers. The FBI document describes multiple connections and phone calls and goes on and on and on. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy went on CNN and effectively immolated the CNN reporter who was there over these revelations that our government hid about September 11th. They hid the connections. They lied to you in the 9/11 report. So if you can find one lie, you can find a lot of lies. There's a lot of lies on CNN. Vivek calling them out. Watch.
A report in The Atlantic that you gave an interview to, you said, quote, I think it is legitimate to say how many federal agents were on the planes that hit the Twin Towers. Maybe the answer is zero. It probably is zero for all I know, right? I have no reason to think it was anything other than zero. But if we're doing a comprehensive assessment of what happened on 9/11, we have a 9/11 commission. Absolutely, there should be an answer the public knows the answer to. Explain to me what you meant there.
This is really, it's funny. I mean, The Atlantic is playing the same game as CNN. It's funny. What I said is on January 6th, I do believe that there were many federal agents in the field and we deserve to know who they are. On 9/11, what I've said is that the government lied. And this is incontrovertible evidence, Caitlin. the government lied about Saudi Arabia's involvement. There was a Saudi spy named al-Bayoumi who they lied, and the government lied, and the 9/11 Commission lied. We know that because declassified reports in 2021 revealed that al-Bayoumi was indeed, what's that?
Yeah, the report that President Biden declassified.
Yes.
But your quote here, are you telling me that the quote is wrong
20 years later,
here?
yeah.
But are you telling me that your quote is wrong here because it says how many federal agents were on the planes that hit the Twin Towers?
Yeah, when I actually, and this is just lifting the curtain on how media works again, I asked that reporter to send the recording because it was on the record. He refused to do it. But we had a free-flowing conversation. The truth is there are lies the government has told about 9/11, but it's not the ones that somebody put in my mouth. It's the one that I articulated, which is that Saudi Arabia, absolutely, their intelligence was involved in 9/11. And that's a difficult thing you're not supposed to say. The facts back that up. Separately, as it relates to January 6th, same story all over again. There were federal agents in the field. I think they've lied about how many there were, and we, the people, deserve the truth, despite the layers of distortion that exist in the media to prevent us from getting it.
You're saying that you were misquoted here, so we will take you at your word.
Yes.
You're saying that you were misquoted here, but you were asked another time recently about whether or not 9/11 was an inside job. This is what your response was.
9/11 inside job or exactly how the government tells us?
I don't believe the government has told us the truth. Again, I'm driven by evidence and data. What I've seen in the last several years is we have to be skeptical of what the government does tell us. I haven't seen evidence to the contrary, but do I believe everything the government told us about it? Absolutely not.
That's two
I believe
questions.
the 9/11 Commission? Absolutely not.
I mean, Vic, I think people look at those comments. They look at what you said in the Atlantic, which you say you were misquoted. They look at comments that you've made about the Federal Reserve adding zeros to media companies' bank accounts. And I mean, it looks like you're floating conspiracy theories with this defense of I'm just asking questions.
Well, when you actually quote me, those are my words, and I stand by them. So somebody else quoting me, putting words in my mouth, I have a problem with. But those words I stand by. You want to know why? Because we literally know the FBI, the 9/11 Commission, the U.S. government on down told us specifically that Saudi Arabia had no involvement. 20-plus years later, quietly declassifying documents showing that not only did Saudi Arabia have involvement, it was a Saudi intelligence agent that received two of those terrorists that crashed planes on 9/11, killing
But the
Americans
question was, is
on
9/11
American
an
soil.
inside job? And you
government
didn't
lied
say
about it.
no.
Caitlin,
That's what
you
I
just
think people are
Caitlin, you
looking at.
Caitlin, you know what's really funny? You literally just played that, and you could play it for your audience again. He said, or do you believe everything the government has told us? And my answer was, I do not believe everything the government has told us
But you see
because
the
they
point.
lied.
The point is
and
that
I know
it leaves
this game
the door
comes up,
open.
Caitlin,
It's
every
not
time
a
there's
game.
an outsider who comes in.
It leaves the door open, Vivek. It leaves the door open, and someone who's
Caitlin,
a 9/11 truther
we
looks
have a
at that and
government that
says, that's
systematically
exactly what I
lies.
believe. You
That
think the
was a-
government's
that was
lying
a
about
comedian
9/11?
I think the government has systematically and for a very long time lied about 9/11. And I think I'm the
What
only
part
presidential
exactly
candidate
are
who's
they
told us
lying
the
about?
truth. Saudi Arabia's involvement. It is absolutely true.
But you don't
that Saudi
think that
Arabia
9/11 was an inside job,
involved in 9/11.
correct?
Of course not. And I've never said it. But the
But
media
that's a pretty
filters do
simple
create
answer.
a lot of
It's not
falsehoods.
a media filter.
but
You have to
that's the
stop
truth.
blaming the media. I'm asking you about comments that you have made.
And I'm telling you that the comments I made, the ones you just played, are indeed what I believe, which was not that 9/11 was an inside job, but that Saudi Arabia absolutely was involved, and our government for 20 years lied to the American people about it.
There was an entire
That is
9/11
hard
Commission
fact,
report
actually.
on this.
Yes, and it lied, and it was false. And in fact, you know where that's coming out, Caitlin? There's now a case, a federal case in the Southern District of New York, where the government of Saudi Arabia is being sued by victims of families.
the
That's why
families,
this is
yes.
resurfacing itself. It is relevant, and it turns
But
out
there's a difference
in
in
those
asking
declassified
questions
documents
about Saudi
that the
Arabia's
government lied.
involvement and the government's involvement, and then pushing this idea that whenever what your comment about who was on the plane and then was 9/11 an inside job where you did not say no earlier. That's why it's important to clarify those comments, because otherwise it feels like you're towing the line when it comes to conspiracy theories.
Caitlin, I am guilty as charged that I do not follow the establishment super PAC donor-approved script on these questions, but I am speaking truth, grounded in fact, at every step of the way, and that's what's really elicited something of an anaphylactic reaction of the kind we saw in 2016 against a different candidate. But this time I'm going to be grounded in principles and conviction, not just vengeance and grievance, which is exactly
you say you're
how we
grounded
will
in evidence.
reunite
That's
this
just
country.
simply what we were asking for. But Vivek Ramaswamy, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time tonight.